While many families are experiencing the pitfalls of remote learning, students and staff at schools for the visually impaired and deaf are facing even more barriers not being in the classroom. Union representatives are calling for more inclusive consultation with the Ontario government. Jason Gaidola has that story.
18-year-old Jade Ondrick is partially visually impaired and is now forced to log on like many other students.
There's no way that people who are visually impaired, blind, partially sighted, deaf-blind, we're not able to function online at all.
Jade attends W. Ross McDonald in Brantford, a school for the blind and deaf across Ontario. It specializes in the needs for in-person learning and living independently. She says being home, she can't gain the hands-on experience.
I felt like I needed to gain more skills in the area of independent living, and I knew that the lodging program would allow me to gain that independence.
Following the Ford government's decision to delay a return to the classrooms, prior to that, the provincial and demonstration schools branch sent out a memo saying because of the Omicron spread, a decision has been made to have students in lodging participate in remote learning instead of returning in person. This prompted unions representing the specialized schools to write to the Ministry of Education calling for action, saying abdicating your responsibility and indefinitely suspending the lodging program is not the solution. A local union president tells me that 70% of the student body lodges here at the school.
We have had absolutely zero staff or student transmissions within the school through this entire pandemic.
Local union president Drew Finucane, who's also a support counselor at W. Ross McDonald, says having students on campus is critical for their growth, whether being in class or living independently.
We have not been given any answers whatsoever and no commitment to reopening the lodging program.
We have a large space in residence, and yet we have a small number of students.
Through an interpreter, teacher Tamara Witcher and student Jalen Russell Lilly, both from a school for the deaf in Milton, expressed their concerns about the lodging closures, even if students can return to class on January 17th.
If they were to close the residence, I would have a 3-hour commute each way to be able to attend school in Milton. And so right now, I stay at school.
The Ministry of Education tells us that all provincial and demonstration schools like W. Ross McDonald will, if possible, provide in-person support to those individuals who cannot be accommodated through remote learning. We also reached out to the demonstration's school branch to ask if lodging will return once everyone heads back to the classroom. We're still waiting to hear back.